Carson Tate's video log. I'm here with Bold Strokes author Greg Herren, right?
That's correct.
And he's from Louisiana, as you can tell by his garb. Yesterday you were wearing Saint's garb.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, well, it's very nice to have you here with us. We usually talk to the gals, but it's nice to talk to the guys. So you are, like famous. You've got, over 50 short stories, dozens of books. You're a Lambda Literary Award winner. You're an editor. What haven't you done?
I've never done your video log before.
Okay, well, excellent.
One more thing off the bucket list.
Oh, excellent. Next is whitewater rafting.
No.
Okay, so you have a bunch of different things going on.
Yes.
So what's coming up from you novel length next?
My next novel, oh gosh, I'm trying to think. My next novel comes out in December. It's the Sixth Chance McCloud Mystery. It's the first chance that's going to be published by Bold Strokes.
Oh, excellent.
The first 5 were with Allison. And now they're at Bold Strokes, and I actually need to finish it relatively shortly.
So we won't keep you long. So Chance McCloud is one of your series.
Yes.
Scotty Bradley.
Yes.
And
I've done some young adult stuff. I've actually done 2. One was with another. The first was with a different. Was also with another publisher. It was called Sorceress, and then Sleeping Angel was with Bold Strokes Books, and it came out earlier this year.
Very good book.
And I've done some various stuff under other names.
Yes.
I'm the real Carson Tate.
Never. You're not supposed to expose my secrets on film. What's the December release called?
Murder in the Irish Channel.
Murder in the Irish Channel.
Yes.
Say it right. Murder in the Irish Channel.
That's what it's a BBC masterpiece mystery.
So what draws you to crime?
What draws me to crime? Writing about it keeps me from committing it.
Oh, that's clever. But you're writing crime manuals, basically.
Basically, yes. No, my grandmother, when I was growing up, was really a huge fan of mysteries, and so she kind of, whenever she used to babysit my sister and I, we would watch, old black and white. And so I started reading when I was very young. So I was 3. I learned how to read when I was 3. And so I just gravitated towards reading mysteries. And I worked my way through. I've always been a really fast reader. I don't know why that is, but I can read a lot and relatively quickly. So when I was a kid, I read the entire Nancy Drew series, the Hardy Boys. I read all of those series. Trixie Belden, the 3 Investigators.
Oh, yeah,
Ken
Trixie
Holt.
Belden. I think Trixie Belden was set somewhere. We're in the Adirondacks, somewhere in upstate New York.
She was in the Catskills.
Okay,
it was
there
on the
you go.
Hudson River, the sleepy side on Hudson.
Yes, I do.
And I remember them all. That's the scary part. But there used to be a lot of those series, like Judy Bolton,
right?
The Dana Girls, Vicky Barr, Cherry
Do they do
Ames.
that anymore?
Not so much. I don't know why either. I mean, it's very strange to me. The Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew have kept going, and Trixie Belden has kept going.
Maybe you need to.
Well, I thought. What the funny thing about it was when I was a kid and I used to read those, I used to think I could do these better.
Yeah, absolutely.
I could do these better because they were so goody two shoes. They weren't like anybody I knew. They were especially when it was like with Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys and the ones that were like in their late teens. I was a kid, so it didn't,
You didn't compete.
But with Trixie Belden and the ones that were like 13 or 12, it was like, excuse me, I don't know any kids who are like this.
No.
Nor do I want to.
No, they were very vanilla.
Well, we never really knew what Trixie and Honey got up to in the
That's
clubhouse
true.
by themselves.
I always imagined some Trixie Honey get-togethers.
Yeah, there was this butch femme dynamic
going
on with Trixie and
Totally.
And so I think I wrote my first one when I was like 9 years old. I wrote it was maybe like 20 pages long, maybe at most, handwritten, big print, little kids' handwriting. And I always wanted to be a writer. That's just what I always did. And then I graduated from those to Agatha Christie and Ellery Queen and Perry Mason, Earl Stanley Gardner, and then I just kind of drifted away from the mystery field for a long time. And it's terrible to say this. Well, no, it's not. But I stopped reading mysteries in the 1970s because I really despised the whole straight male, white male mentality that they all were. It's like, yes, every woman you meet is going to fall madly in love with you.
Yeah, there was that
instantly
whole block of time where it was just the alpha male.
And they were, I didn't find them particularly interesting, and I didn't find the writing to be particularly good. Now, there were some good writers in that period that I just didn't know about. So I stopped reading them, and then I moved on to the massive books back in the 70s. They don't publish books this size anymore. I guess it's not affordable, but James Michener couldn't publish his books today. It's like, and I love those because it's like, books that will take me more than 3 days to read. So I read all of them. One summer I read all of Herman Woke. I read the whole Winds of War, War of Remembrance, Cain Mutiny, Marjorie Morningstar, all of that in one summer. And then I moved on to Michener and read Michener the rest of that summer. So it was Centennial and Chesapeake and Hawaii. Michener was a little harder because I got bored very early on because he was very... He's dead, so I can say this. But like the first 300...
Greg!
the first 300 pages of Hawaii was basically... did you ever read Hawaii?
No.
The first 300 pages of Hawaii was, and then the volcano erupted, and the island was formed, and then it sank into the sea. Then the volcano erupted, literally 300 pages of how the islands were formed. It's like, I could have gotten that in 2 or 3 sentences. In a couple of thousand years.
Yeah.
It took a couple of 100,000 years for this to develop, but I didn't really need to read it in excruciating detail. Again, no one would publish that today.
So, speaking of your criticism of writing, critique. So you're an editor.
Yes.
And so the most recent anthologies that you've edited are coming out in August.
Yes,
It's
that's
August
correct.
now, so they're out.
Or soon. I think next week.
Yeah, I think next week is the official release.
Yes, I co-edited 2 anthologies of noir fiction with the award-winning writer J.M. Redmond.
She's fantastic.
She is fabulous, isn't she? And she's one of the funniest people I know. So we wrote dark crime stories.
And laughed.
And laughed. But they're coming out this month, whether it's noir. One is gay noir and the other is lesbian noir. And they're both Men of the Mean Streets, obviously the boys' books, and Women of the Mean Streets is the
I've read quite a bit.
version. And you're actually
I am in Women of the Mean Streets, and I've read quite a bit of both, and they're awesome.
We're very pleased with how they turned out. We got some amazing writers, and it was really kind of fun because I can't take all the credit for Bill, but I shouldn't take all of the credit for it because basically where it came from was Akashic Books does a series of city-based noir. Baltimore noir, DC noir, San Diego noir, Havana noir, and they did a New Orleans noir. And my friend Julie Smith was asked to put that one together, and she asked me to write a story for her. And I liked the way she did it, because basically she simply said to everyone who was contributing, what is your definition of noir? And then write a story that exhibits that definition. And I thought that was brilliant, because that gave every writer free rein to come up with their own definition, come up with their own story that illustrates that definition. And it was an incredibly fun experience. So that's what Gene and I did with ours.
10 words, definition of noir.
I call it the endless nightmare.
The endless nightmare?
Yes.
I like that.
It's because to me, the thing with noir is always that somebody makes a decision that's bad. That's not necessarily the right one, but they make a decision that's not necessarily the smartest thing to do or the right thing to do, and then things just keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And that's how I did my story for Julie. Now, when I did my story for Men of the Mean Streets, it was a little bit different. I had a different definition of noir for that one. In that one, it was more along the terms of my definition of noir changed with that story, and that it was more along the terms of just your normal, everyday person who, you know, just gets really, really, how something that annoys you can just build and build and build if it's never done, if you never do anything about it or it's not solved until you're finally pushed to the brink to do something about it. Much more extreme than if you've done something about it to begin with.
Perfect.
There's so that was how that story came from, and it was actually originally a radio. Julie and I had been asked by Southern Repertory Company, a theater group in New Orleans, received a grant of some sort. I never really knew the details how that all worked out. They had received a grant to produce 2 mystery radio plays.
Interesting.
And then the local NPR affiliate, which I can't think of what it is, I think it's WWN, yes, WWNO, was going to air them. And so originally it was going to be, they'd asked Julie and they'd asked, I cannot remember who the other guy was. It was a woman and a man. That was specified in the grant. And ironically, the guy dropped out at the last minute, and they were in a panic. And Julie just said, "Well, I have
a noir friend.
I have a friend who can write really, really quickly and really, really well." And so she put them in touch with me, and they paid me a ridiculous amount of money to write a 20-minute radio play.
Awesome.
I turned into my story. In fact, Julie Smith's story in Men of the Mean Streets is her short story version of her radio play.
Perfect.
So hers is, I believe, called Private Chick.
And what's yours called?
Mine is called Spin Cycle.
Spin Cycle. I like that. All right. Well, I want the audience to learn something about you that they wouldn't necessarily know. I mean, you are, you're in pretty good shape here, but you used to be a professional wrestler, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you're going to show me some moves? So we're going to cut away for just a moment, and Mr. Herren is going to be shamed into showing me some moves. So what are you going to do?
Just put your hand right here.
Okay.
And then just keep your body stiff and hop a little bit. And lift,
Okay.
And here we go.
I feel like I'm figure skating. Greg Herren, professional wrestler and writer extraordinaire. This is Carson Tate's video log, signing out.